Hello everyone. Happy Sunday. It is July 5th, the day after 4th of July, which we had a fabulous celebration. I hope you all did too. I am live with you for Coffee and a Card. Hello and happy Sunday. Let me introduce myself. I am Tiffany Almeida. I am pretty in paper crafts and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I go live every Sunday for Coffee and a Card where I show you fun projects using Stampin' Up! Product. Today we are going to be using the Way to Goat stamp set. Totally up my alley. I love puns, I love cutesy, I love silly, and this one is all about it. So I'm gonna giggle, I'm gonna laugh, I'm gonna have fun with it, and I hope you will too, and I hope you like today's projects. We're using the Way to Goat stamp set, and it is so cute. I love all the sentiments. Happy birthday, you old goat. You're the goat, greatest of all time. I got you a cake, but I ate it. And Way to Goat. All right, so the first one, I summoned my inner goat and I came up with this card, which is a stair step card. And it is, oh, I'm sorry. I really don't like how it's cutting off that side. Okay, sorry. Stair step card. And I really love how this little mountain scene is perfect for my little goat. It's so fun. I love the stair step. And I put my little goat here. Doesn't he look like he belongs in the mountains? All right, so let's get our box up here, the one that we need. Here's all the pieces that we need. A lot of these are just scraps though, so don't be overwhelmed. We're gonna start out with a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5, and I wanna show you the scoring that we're gonna need to do and the cutting that we need to do. So you're gonna have your cardstock in here. On the long side, do your normal score in half, right? So you're gonna score it in half at 4 1/4. You wanna score that all the way down. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it on the short side and line it up at 2 3/4 inches. And then we're gonna take our blade and slide it up to 1 1/4, okay? So I'm gonna use my side measurement here at 1 1/4, and I kind of have to stand up to see this. So 1 1/4, okay? I've got my short side lined up at 2 3/4. I'm gonna go from 1 1/4 up to 6 1/8. And I'm just cutting up the center of the card. Okay, now, take your cardstock, move your cutting blade away. We don't wanna cut anymore. Take your cardstock and score at, let's see. Score it at 1 1/4 on the long side. You're gonna score from, oh, no, other way. You're gonna score from the 1 1/4 mark up to that 2 3/4 inch cut. So just stop when you get to the 2 3/4 inch cut. And I have a hard time doing this upside down, as you guys know. For me, I always cut at the bottom. So score at the 1 1/4, then score at 2, right up to that 2 3/4 inch cut line. Then score at 3 1/8, right up to that cut line. And then score at 6 1/8. So 6 1/8, you actually have to open your little extender and go right out to this little end right here. That's 6 1/8. And score one more time. Okay, so that's it. Now, to fold this is very simple. Now, I'm gonna do it the other way because I want my mountains to be on the right-hand side. So I'm actually gonna fold away from where I scored, but you're gonna fold that half mark in like so, and it's gonna try and fold. So what you're gonna do is fold at that first score line here down, okay? Then we're gonna start doing a zigzag motion. So we're going to fold here, going up, fold here, going down. So you guys see the zigzag that I'm making? Then fold up, and then fold down. So I'm just doing, that's my stair step, okay? So I did, it looks like this now. I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to burnish those because I just want to make sure that everything folds flat and nice, like so, okay? So I'll bring in my original so you can see that we're going to be making the same thing. And now what I did was I had 2 pieces of designer series paper. Now these designer series paper are from the Artistry Blooms designer series paper, which I thought the colors looked like a sky, kind of looked like, you know, the wilderness. So you have one piece that's 2.5 by 4, and you're just gonna glue that right to this center panel here, or the side panel. And then you have this other piece that measures 2 3/4 by 1 inch, and it's just gonna butt right up against the side of this designer series paper, and nobody's gonna be able to tell the lines because we're gonna hide it with trees and other things. So it's no big deal. You could cut it as one, but why go through all the work of that when it really doesn't matter? So I'm just going to line this up and try to center it and glue that down, okay? So now you have the 2 pieces. Now we can start building our scene. And you guys, I just immediately thought of that Mountain Air stamp set because it's perfect. You got to put your goat where the mountains are, right? You got to summon your inner goat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 different tiers of mountain plus 1 tier of trees. So I have a piece of old olive cardstock for the trees. I have the trees on a stamp. I'm going to take the mountains off for a second. I'm going to use old olive ink. And I like to stamp these, I like to ink them up upside down so I can see that everything is inked up. And then just stamp it. I'm going to turn it over because there's that little notch on there. Now you want to stamp it a little ways up because you want to give yourself some space to do the whole bottom in green. So I'm just kind of rocking it, pushing, making sure that it's stamped nice and even. That looks good. The other thing I need to do is stamp a tree in old olive. So I'm just going to use the same piece of cardstock and stamp a tree off to the side. Now you can probably guess that we're not going to use this full line of trees. We're going to trim it down so it fits inside the card. Okay, so that's it with the old olive. Now we need to do another set of trees in Granny Apple Green. So we'll take our Granny Apple Green and our other tree and take a scrap of Granny Apple Green cardstock, which I happen to have right here. And we'll just stamp a tree that we're going to cut out, okay? So we've got those 3 things. Now let's go ahead and take our blues. I used blues for my mountains. I don't know if that's weird to you or not, but I thought it kind of worked, and it matched the designer series paper. So I used Bermuda Bay and Coastal Cabana for my mountains. I think that mountains can look blue off in the distance. So I'm going to take the tree stamp off and I'm going to put the mountain stamp. Okay, and I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to stamp a Bermuda Bay mountain and then stamp a Coastal Cabana mountain. And again, let's ink it up upside down. It's just easier that way. Okay. I don't know why this is crooked. There we go. Okay, so stamp the mountains here 1 time. Then let's go ahead and clean them off. That was Bermuda Bay. And now let's stamp in Coastal Cabana, the second set of mountains. Thank you, Karen. I was actually inspired by this card by, Lauren Stamps. I should go back and and link her blog post. She did a stair step with the mountains, and I was like, it needs a goat. So I cased her and I made it my own with my silly little goat there. Okay, so I've got those two mountains. I need to stamp a cloud, so I have my clouds on a stamp. I'm gonna do Coastal Cabana, but the first thing I'm gonna do is stamp off once. So here's my little scrap for the cloud. So I'm gonna stamp off once, stamp again, so I get a lighter cloud. I just feel like it's better if it's a little bit lighter. And that was in Coastal Cabana. Okay. All right, so what's left? So we have our two mountains. Okay, we're gonna take a piece of just Coastal Cabana. So we're gonna cut the third layer of mountains just with Coastal Cabana. We're not gonna actually stamp it. And then we have two labels here that I've already cut out. These are nested stitched labels, and we are going to do the stamping on those. I'm gonna wait. Let's do our big shot work first, and then we'll come back to that. So let me get all the things we need to big shot. We'll move everything else out of the way for now. I'm using the Mountain Air bundle, and so that comes with the Majestic Mountain dies. It cuts out all of those fun little things we stamped. One of my favorite sets. I'm so glad it's carrying over. So for the tree line, we just line this up like so, right along the top of the tree line. And then I don't think this is going to fit at the same time, so we probably can't cut that at the same time, but we can move it over and we can cut our little trees. And we can probably cut our cloud too at the same time. Don't be moving on me. Where's our little cloud? So we'll do these first and then we'll do the second set. Okay, here we go. Blue Mountains of Tennessee, there you go. That's what I was going for, Terry. All right, so we've got those. Put those over there. Move these out of the way. Now we need to cut this tree. And you can see it only cuts the tree line. It does not cut out the trees. Isn't that interesting? So then we can cut it down to what we want. So let's go ahead and do the trees. And we'll also cut out our little Blue Mountains of Tennessee here in Coastal Cabana. And it's okay if it cuts off because, like I said, we have to trim it down anyway. And I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, so those are cut. We can take those out and put those over there to the side. Now we have two more sets of mountains to cut out real quick. So pretty. Thank you, Peggy, for sharing. So there's one set of mountains and two set of mountains. All right. Oops. Okay, so that's it for big shot work. And we will, I'm just putting all these dies back so I don't lose anything. Let's go ahead and start to build our scene here. Well, first let's do our stamping with our goat. So we have our little goat here with his flower in his mouth. He's so cute. We're gonna stamp him in Memento because we're gonna do some shading and smoky slate. Always gotta do some shading, can't just leave him black and white. He looks like he's balancing on like a little mountain rock, eating his little flowers. He's so cute. And then happy birthday, old goat. So this is perfect for, you know, that grumpy old relative or that friend that you can make fun of, you know, the ones that wouldn't take offense to something like this. And maybe you call your dad or your grandpa or your uncle or somebody an old goat. Maybe you call your boss an old goat. I don't know. And so This would be a cute little card for that. Okay, I'm going to take my smoky slate. This is the light smoky slate. And I'm just doing some shading just to kind of give him some depth. And I just kind of follow the lines and imagine where the sun don't shine, right? So imagine the sun is maybe over to his left side. And so it's going to be shaded on his right side. His little nose, so cute. I love his little tufts of fur. Their legs just crack me up, the way their legs are. Okay, so then we just do a little bit of shading. Now I am going to shade his horns, but I'm not going to color them. Okay, and then the last thing is we're going to just give a little color to his flower. I made his just like a little purple flower. And then we got to shade underneath him because we don't want him just floating in the air. So we're just going to do just a little bit of smoky slate underneath him. So he's actually standing on something. Okay. All right. So now we can put all these pieces together. Let's go ahead and get all of our mountains in here. Our trees, our cloud. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to trim this down. We want to trim it down so that it's only 2 3/4 inches long, because that's how long that section is. So if we turn it over here, put it in at 2 3/4, let's just go ahead and cut off this section of tree here so that this will fit right into the second level here. And we can even move it up if we want. Just put it right there. We've got our trees, okay? So we're gonna glue that there. So we're done with this. Now let's go ahead and trim our mountains down too. So I'm gonna trim a little bit off of this end. And then I'm gonna trim a little bit down to 2 3/4 on this end. I'm gonna do that on all my mountains. But I just kind of want to cut them at different levels so they're, or different sides and things, so that they're all different, right? We don't want all of our mountains to be in the same formation. So we'll just trim different sections so that they overlap differently. Do you see what I'm doing here? See how it's not the same? So just little sections got to be different. All right, so because I cut from that end, let's go ahead and cut from this end this time. Just trim that off so we got a straight edge. Then let's go out to 2 3/4. Hopefully this one is different enough. Kind of the same, kind of not. Okay, so that's, you kind of get the idea, right? So here's how we're gonna put this together. Did I glue this one straight? Yeah, I did. All right, so let's glue the trees on. Only put glue at the bottom portion because it is going to stick up over your, over that little fold. So you don't want this part to have glue on it. And you don't want it to interfere with this line. So when you lay it flat, you don't want it to hit so it doesn't lay flat. Okay, so just making sure that it's cut at that 2 3/4 and not going into that section. All right, the next set of mountains I'm going to glue down are our Coastal Cabana mountains. I'm going to put just a line of adhesive at the bottom. And I'm going to glue it just to this section here. So see, I've got a lot of it still showing up at the top. Now, on this back side, I'm going to take dimensionals. I'm just going to pop a few dimensionals on, peel the backing off. And then let's take our blue mountains and glue them down. And you don't want it to go over this fold, and you don't want it to hit over this, because when it lays flat, you need it to be out of the way so this can fold flat. All right, so we've got our second layer of mountains. Now we're gonna do our front layer of mountains. I'm gonna put these on dimensionals. Make sure you only put dimensionals on the bottom portion. And then these ones are gonna go to the front of our Coastal Cabana mountains. Like so. Okay, so now we've got our mountains and our trees. Now it's time to decorate the front. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of that braided linen trim. Guys, did you see the red? The new red braided linen trim? Ah, so excited. I love this stuff. It's easy to tie. It's great for masculine projects. I just really like it. All right, so I'm going to tie a knot, just a knot, around this first layer here. Hopefully I can pull it tight. That's a lot of braided linen trim wasted. All right, so just trying to hold it tight. Okay, there we go, nice. All right, let's go ahead and trim these edges. Okay, so we've got our little knot. We have our little goat. Let's go ahead and put him on. So I'll have the original here so we can see. Let's see if I can weight it down. Nope. All right, I'm gonna put this on with dimensionals. Pop this guy up. Pop our little goat. He's gonna go in the center, right over. Let's push our linen thread up to the top here. And our goat's gonna go right in the center there. Okay, and then let's go ahead and glue our tree down. This is our old olive tree. I'm just gonna glue this one straight down. So this one's kind of gonna be the back, and I'm only putting glue on the bottom because it's going to go over the top in the center here. Now it is okay if this tree crosses over because it's not going to interfere with it going flat. So this tree can actually go in the center, overlapping the sides. This tree I'm going to put on with some dimensionals. And we're going to layer that one down here next to the goat. Okay. We have our little cloud here. We're gonna put this up in the sky because our goat's, you know, up in the mountains. I just put that on a dimensional. Put that right up there. And then we have our happy birthday, you old goat. And we'll put that on with dimensionals as well. Lots of dimension on this card. This card's not going to ship cheap. Totally worth it though. And then we'll just put this right about there. How fun. And I love that it can stand up. Oh, so cute. Love that it can stand on someone's desk and they can enjoy it. It can lay flat, it can fold flat and go into kind of an envelope. You can write a message on the inside. You can write a message on the back side. So many fun ideas. I love this card. And it needed a goat. The mountains. The goat needed the mountains. Thank you so much for watching me. I know you guys are tired from partying last night. But I appreciate all of you. I hope you have a fabulous week and we'll see you next Sunday. For some of you, I'll see you on Friday for Pretty AF and some of you on Saturday for Bingo. Alrighty, you guys. Bye. Have a great week. We'll talk to you later.